Welcome to Geek Insider presents Into the Geekverse with Matthew Harris and David King.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Into the Geekverse. This is going to be a new YouTube show / podcast brought to you by Geek Insider. I'm Matthew Harris, for those of you that are new, and for those that are not new to the show, or to the channel, this is David. David King is an old friend of mine. We'll let him introduce himself in just a minute, but I wanted to let everyone know what's going on here and why we haven't been around with Geek Speak. Unfortunately, my producer, co-host, and dear friend Meredith passed away earlier this year, and that put a kibosh on the show, and then a damper on even trying to continue Geek Speak on. It may be back in some fashion with the interviews and all the inroads that Meredith and I made with Hollywood and with the comic book industry. But at this point right now, that show, I don't know that it'll return. That was mine and Meredith's baby. But this, Into the Geekverse, we're going to cover a whole bunch more than what Geek Speak did. We're like today we're discussing Star Wars, and we're going to get into the whole thing. But as the shows progress, we're going to discuss just anything and everything that's in the Geekverse, just like how it sounds. But right now, I want to introduce or let my co-host introduce himself. I've known this man his entire life. It's a long story, but we're great friends. And David, tell everyone about yourself.
Hey guys, as he introduced, I'm going to be your co-host. I'm David King. I've known Matthew my entire life. We share a lot of different things, including anything and everything under the sun that's geek related. As you can see, I've got Deathstroke, got a couple of different ones. In fact, I'll give you a little preview. I actually have the same canvas that Matthew has. And so...
But there's a funny story on that. That was, I'll let you continue in just a second. It was Christmas time. David sends me a video. He goes, "Look what the parents got me for Christmas." And I started laughing and I went. My brother had gotten me this and an Avengers one. We both ended up with the exact same two posters, completely separate, or not posters, but they're canvases.
Canvases, yeah.
But nobody colluded on getting this. It's just that our families know us so well, and we have such the same likes that out of all the Batman and Avenger stuff out there, they got us the exact same too. But anyway, go ahead and finish introducing yourself.
Yeah, guys, we have so much to be able to tell you and show y'all. I know you're going to really like this show if you are geeks. We have a lot of Batman stuff. We also have a lot of Marvel. We have a lot of DC. But the thing is that we're going to be bringing to you relevant information regarding to the geek stuff, things that are coming across and that we want to just generally speak about. And this week's going to be about Star Wars. So we have a lot of exciting things to talk about, such as the, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Darth Vader, the new game coming out, the new Bad Batch series. So please stick tuned. We have a lot to discuss. I am very excited to be able to share this time with y'all, and I can't wait to see how this show goes.
Great. And folks, what the plan is at this point in time is that we'll be here every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Central Time. I hate saying CDT or CST because that crap changes, and then I never know which one I'm supposed to be using at which given time. But yeah, we're going to be here on the YouTube, Facebook, and that's my personal Facebook, the Geek Insider Facebook. There's a whole bunch of other Facebooks that we're on, plus the Geek Insider YouTube. That's going to be live, but then you can also catch the show on Mondays on every major podcast platform. And so, David, we were both been waiting for Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series, for a while now. We've known about it. We waited on it. It's finally here. And folks, if you have not seen the first 3 episodes, you may want to come back after you have, because I guarantee you there's going to be spoilers. we're gonna mention stuff that is.
But I'm telling y'all what, y'all do not want to miss this. There's a lot that we're going to be talking about. We're excited to hear what y'all have to say. So please come back, join us. Like he said, Mondays this will be posted. So if you happen to miss us while we're live, because you got to go see those episodes, come back and check out the video.
Yep, exactly. And the fun thing about Obi-Wan Kenobi is it takes place after the Clone Wars, after Order 66, basically, after the Jedis have been wiped out. That part is not a spoiler. But there are, I'm trying to say this without spoiling everything. There are a lot of throwbacks, to the prequels. There's some nods to the originals, of course, because we get to see Luke as a child. But I am enjoying it. I want to say that, but there are some things that are kind of bothering me about it. One, I saw this. I can't take credit for this because I saw this on I don't know, one of the social medias, but they showed a picture. They said that Solo and Obi-Wan Kenobi are basically around the same time. And then they show a picture of Solo and then a picture of Princess Leia, and their ages are about 20 years difference. And
it's the creepiest thing when you put the two photos next to each other.
It is. I meant to grab it. I was going to show everybody because it is. It's like, wait a minute. If they'd have gotten together back then, he would have been a pedophile and he would have had to register in 9 galaxies. But anyway, that's just a little side thing as far as Obi-Wan. What are your first impressions, David? Because like I said, I'm picky. I think it's good, but could be better, but I'm liking it so far. So what about you?
Dude, Star Wars is such a big thing. I'm really glad the way that they've been introducing. I was really worried about this whole 6-episode kind of thing. Yes. I mean, not just Star Wars, but Marvel and everything. But it's like getting an extremely long movie that has been just made excellent. I'm really excited. They've got these original actors coming back. And dude, I know it may be biased, but I'm just such a huge fan. And I'm just like, I'm eating it up. I'm loving it right now. But, as we rewatch this kind of stuff, we see some stuff. And I definitely have some questions. But, dude, we're halfway through. We still got 3 episodes that they may hit us this. But catch this. I want to see how wide your eyes open. So the biggest thing that I see on the internet nowadays is that classic scene where Kenobi drops down to Grievous and goes, hello there. But catch this. He's not the first one to do it. When rewatching the episodes of the Clone Wars, when you have General Grievous facing off Kenobi, before that scene, General Grievous is the one who drops down and says, hello there to Kenobi. So when you get the movie, he's actually reciprocating it back from Grievous. And I love it because you're talking about Star Wars that does this kind of stuff. They pay attention to the small stuff. They put it in there for those laughs. It's not big. It's not something that's just devastating or anything. But it just makes you think, wow. I love it. Because that's such a big thing that's blowing up. They paid attention to the internet and they put it in there. Because Clone Wars was released after that movie. So obviously it did technically go first. But if you're watching it from Star Wars from beginning to end story-wise, Grievous said it first. It blew my mind. But
see, I have not seen this is going to show that I don't have a full-fledged Star Wars geek card, but I have not seen the Clone Wars. I've not seen Rebels. I have not seen the Bad Batch. I did start watching an episode of the Bad Batch, and I do want to watch it because I liked what I seen. And it's not that I don't like animation. You know me, I watch the DC animation stuff, as soon as it comes out. It's just I haven't. We'll get to that on another show because that's a whole episode there of the DC stuff.
Dude,
But yeah, I do this a lot too, man, is I lose my train of thought on these damn shows. And Meredith used to crack up at me because it happened at least one time per show, and it'll probably continue in this show. But anyway, go ahead. I've lost my train of thought.
Man, I'll tell you what else. So there's a couple of things about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's probably the bulk of what we have to talk about. I mean, dude, they're releasing 2 episodes at a time. Wednesday, they're coming out with them. But I was catching up on a lot of different sources when I was reading up on this. Obi-Wan was already approved for a 2nd season, and they've officially changed the ending to the 1st season so that it can merge into the 2nd season easier. And I think they're putting this all out there for us all to be aware, because you know how bad people, especially these 6 episodes, how people blow up when the ending is not perfect. And I have a feeling that we're about to see that coming into this. But I don't care. If we're getting a second season, I know that they're going to be really well merging this into it. And I love that we're going to get more episodes. There's such a huge story to tell here. And so,
there is.
Give me more episodes. I'm fine.
But I thought, don't get me wrong, I love the idea that they'll continue this on, but I thought that this was supposed to be like Loki and WandaVision, that it was a one shot for sure, 6 episodes, that's it. But so they have for sure said there'll be a season 2 that you know of?
I've seen multiple different sources. Now, this is on the internet, guys, so take it with a grain of salt. This is really early on, and so there's no official sources or anything that I've seen, but I've seen several stating that Lucasfilms has approved the second one. And the reason being is it's a completely unprecedented amount of audience that's watching this. And it's blowing up out of the water. And I kind of agree. I mean, it's a little bit weird, and I thought that's what it was. But if you think about it, this audience, this huge story, this money maker, why would Disney turn that down or anything? Invest more money, keep it going. One of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to, and I'm hoping, it's really changed through the years, but if you go back and you watch the original Star Wars and the lightsaber battles, they were choreographed and they worked really hard, and you still see Kristen Haydenson to this day practicing his choreographed lightsaber battles. And then if you check the new Star Wars, I love Star Wars, I don't love the episodes and stuff like that, but if you watch, their lightsaber battles are nowhere near on par of the original ones, and I'm hoping they bring that back.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the newer episodes, they didn't even have a choreographer. They kind of let them ad-lib. One of the best fight scenes out of all the Star Wars for me is Qui-Gon and Darth Maul. That's one of the best drawn out lightsaber battles. It's not with just someone getting their damn hand cut off that we see while they're on yet another Death Star. But no, going back to Obi-Wan, I do want to pause the conversation for a second before we talk more about the show itself. And I'm just going to call some of you folks out there. If you're one of these folks that gave Reva, what's the actress's name?
It's Moses Ingram, the sister, the one who plays the third sister in the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, folks, if you haven't heard, there was some really nasty stuff being said to her over the last couple of weeks. And I don't know exactly what has been said. I know it was racist comments, sexist comments. And folks, it's like Star Wars themselves put out on their official Twitter. It said, there's like 26 million species in the Star Wars universes. There's no place for racism. And that's a fact. Folks, this is a 21st century. You can have your opinion. I know we all have very strong opinions about what we love. I've got very strong opinions. David's got very strong opinions, especially when it comes to Batman. But you don't take that out on the actor. If you think she's not doing a good job, then don't watch the damn show.
Which is crazy. She's doing great.
I love it.
No, I mean, I agree with you. They don't need to be taking it out on her. And guys, we did the research. We were trying to find the messages and stuff, but I'm sure that they're trying to keep them confidential, and we're not trying to pry too much, but we want to give you as much realistic information as we can find because we care about this stuff. And if you haven't already, go check out Ian McGregor on Twitter did post his opinion about this, and he's on our side, guys. There's no room for this, and especially an amazing actress and how much she's brought to the show. It's ridiculous, guys, and this fandom doesn't have any room for y'all to be like that.
No. And I love what they're doing with this character. I love that she's so driven. This is something that I didn't know until 2 weeks ago. And I don't remember if you told me or what, but that the Inquisitors are actually, a lot of them are former Jedis that were tortured to the breaking point of going to the dark side.
And they take a little bit of that information and they bring it to you in Obi-Wan. I'm telling y'all guys, go watch it if you haven't. And they also brought it up, which we'll talk about here in a second, in the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. They talk about it in there as well. Won't give any spoilers or anything, but it's a great game, and you need to check it out. If you love Star Wars games and stuff, stay tuned to the later part of our podcast. We have more to tell you about that.
Now, I got to ask you, how big of a geek boner did you get when we saw Vader's castle on Mustafar?
Dude, the biggest one that I've ever gotten. But dude, I'll tell you what, dude, how many years have we talked about Vader's castle
Right,
and Vader's
right.
lore needing to be introduced? And I'm really excited. And we're also getting to see the Inquisitors part of it. We're not just thrown into the middle of a story or anything.
Right.
And on that point, I'm glad you brought it up. Kristen Haydenson, in an interview, did announce that there's much more coming, as well as he's fighting for either a Vader show or movie.
That's
if y'all
what
read
I
the
want.
books or anything, there is a lot to go over.
And
talking about
stories.
You're talking about somebody who was a Jedi. You're talking about how he went to the dark side. He became the most, just the best villain that you could probably do. If anybody's like, name a villain, somebody's going to say Darth Vader in a crowd. But then you're talking about, you get to the movies where Luke is facing him and he turns back to good. There's a big story there. And we have a gap of this big section of his life. And
20 years.
For people like Matthew who have not caught the Clone Wars, it gives you an introduction into Anakin before becoming Darth Vader. And guys, if y'all didn't know, and it's introduced into The Mandalorian, Anakin had a Padawan named Ashoka who dual wield lightsabers, and she has an amazing storyline as well, in which we're going to talk about also in this podcast because it's so great damn show. But
we can go ahead and touch on
that. That with the Obi-Wan series that's coming out, we were talking about the season. Let me pull up. I had something else. I guess that was it. I felt like there was something that I brought up. But guys, we have so much to talk about that it happens with these kind of things. So
right,
forgive us if there's something that we missed.
And guys, just to kind of let you know, if you're new to my kind of style and what we're going to be doing on here, like we did on Geek Speak, is we're just going to be having a conversation. Yeah, we have a little outline of a few basic points that we want to discuss, but this is just going to be us having a conversation. We will have guests in the future. But the Obi-Wan thing with Ahsoka, or not Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, dude, Hayden Christensen's finally getting a little love for the prequels. People hated him. Now people are happy that he's coming back. We don't know. We only got 3 episodes left. We've only got a little glimpse of him in Obi-Wan, and we just saw him from afar as Anakin, and then we've seen him a little bit as Darth. But we know that he's also going to be in the upcoming Ahsoka series as Anakin, not Darth Vader. But I would, like you said, there is 20 years of material or of adventures that we could have just from the time of Order 66 and Anakin getting burned up and becoming Vader to, the whole thing where he gets on Princess Leia's ship. There is a lot of time in there. And yes, Obi-Wan can cover some of that, or will cover some of that. But I would love nothing more than to see a Darth Vader series with Hayden Christensen, at the helm, or at least in the suit. But how often, man? I mean, Vader is supposed to not be able to live without the helmet. And so how... is it just going to be, we know it's Hayden Christensen in the suit, or is he going to be taking that damn helmet off all the time to talk to people when it didn't happen in any of the trilogy?
Well, something on that point of Darth Vader, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you were telling me something about this, but I believe they've got the same voice of James Earl Jones, the original voice for Darth Vader in this series. But I think you're the one who told me that they got some kind of voice over or something.
Well, they haven't said officially that they used what is it called? No, it's not Respawn. Duh. It's a company that they actually used for Mark Hamill's voice to DeAge's voice in The Mandalorian, and it's I forget the name of it, but James Earl Jones is credited at the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi as voicing Darth Vader, but it also has the name of this company that somebody else spotted out. It wasn't me, folks. I ain't taking credit for it. I wish I had wrote down who did it so that I could give them credit. But there's speculation that because James Earl Jones is up in age now, that he won't sound like he did in the originals, and he's not that iconic voice. It is, but he's not that same exact voice. So there's thoughts that it could be any number of things, where they only use the software for a little bit of his voice, or that they just gave him credit and the whole thing was computerized. And he just still gets acting credits and gets some money residuals because it's his voice. But either way, that's for another show. But you and I have discussed this in the past as far as Stan Lee goes, and we just found out that they are actually going to freaking do that now. Stan's going to appear in future movies. But they're going to have to do that with James Earl Jones, because there is 20 years of, there's so much source material that we could have movies, good movies for forever. And we've got to have him to be capable of being Darth Vader. And
yeah, dude, this company is so huge. The sky's the limit. They cannot tell us, well, no, it's not. No, dude, sky's the limit. Y'all got the money for it.
Well, and somewhere around, I've got some of those Darth Vader trade paperbacks and some of the comic books and stuff, because I wanted to read them. And I had heard so much good stuff about it, of, the time that Vader's in his castle. And the first time I saw some of the artwork for Vader's castle, that's when I started going, I can't wait to see this in live action. I want to see more of it, because we don't get a lot of viewing of it in Obi-Wan. But again, folks, if you haven't watched Obi-Wan yet, what are you waiting for? There's 3 episodes available Wednesday, Tuesday nights at midnight. You can catch it. I woke up my wife that first week. I woke her up at 1:00. Babe, Obi-Wan's out. You want to get up and watch it? She wasn't very thrilled with me, and needless to say, we didn't watch it. We watched it the next day, but I was lucky I didn't have to sleep on the couch or on the porch.
Dude, on the point of Darth Vader, before we move on to the new Ahsoka series that's going to be coming out, like you said, that 20-year period, and some of the comic books that I have seen really delve into just how powerful Darth Vader really is. And I feel like people who haven't read the books or comics or, any of that kind of stuff, and they've just watched the movies and stuff, may be asking themselves, is he really that powerful? You always talk about Anakin having this strong connection to the Force. But let me tell you what, there's an episode in the Clone Wars that addresses just how powerful Anakin is. And I won't give you spoilers, but it is one of the most epic things that Star Wars has ever produced. And then not only that, but him going into the dark side and him learning, because, dude, the Emperor told him, like, look, come to the dark side. I'll give you the powers to save Padme. I will teach you all the new powers.
Right.
He becomes insanely powerful, and there's so much to capitalize on that, because you really don't see what he can do.
Right. And I want to see
10%, I feel like.
I want to see Darth Vader, young Darth Vader, pissed off like Anakin was when he killed all the younglings. I want to see that level of ruthlessness in Vader, where he is going, because he's supposed to be an authoritarian dictator, or at least representing one. And so he's got to be going around to these different colonies, these different planets, and crushing people, crushing their president's throat if they don't join, the Empire.
Yeah, and Matthew, if you remember, you were talking about that. You remember they show a bit of that in Obi-Wan already. So you're talking about how he talks to the Inquisitors, and as well as when he,
right?
I'll try not to spoil too much, but he comes out, and when he has to step foot on a planet, we get a hint of that, where he is brutal, and
right.
The way he talks to his Inquisitors and stuff is exactly like you said, an authoritative dictator, somebody who's like. Yeah,
he told Third Sister, "You screw up, you're dead. You
give me what I. If you don't, you won't be alive to.
If you do it right, you'll be my right hand. If you fuck it up, you're dead." And so, that's what I'm wanting to see. You mentioned earlier that these shows are like getting almost a 6-hour long movie, and that goes to the production value too. They are throwing a lot of money at these. These aren't cheap special effects. These are movie caliber special effects. The story writing is great. And so we do end up with about a 6-hour long movie. It's worked positively, and I've also seen it negatively. I was not a fan of Moon Knight except for the first and last episodes. And then it did tie in the rest.
We'll get around to talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not in this episode because this is about Star Wars.
But Mandalorian, 6 episodes, it leaves me wanting more, but I don't feel ripped off. At Boba Fett, same thing. 6 episodes was great, left me wanting more. I didn't feel ripped off, and just really looking forward. When the hell's the next season coming? We do know that Mandalorian season 3 will be coming. I think it was February of 2023. So that sounds like a long way away, but it'll be here next week. But basically it's how time flies around here these days,
especially with all this new stuff, dude. It's such a nice refresher after COVID. Like, these movies and all these productions are coming in, and they're falling down. But I'll tell you what, man, the Ashoka series, there's not much information out there. We saw a little bit of her in The Mandalorian, and I think at the end of Book of Boba Fett. It's slated for 2023. There's not an exact date for when it's coming out. I think the actress is doing an amazing job. And I think it's really interesting because, once again, we're getting a gap where she had that loyalty to Anakin, the Jedi. Right. She had to leave at the end of Clone Wars. Guys, go check it out. It tells you a lot about the story. And then all of a sudden she's grown, and the Mandalorian has found her, and she's it's a totally different person. And I think that really speaks to the story that we're going to be able to see in this series.
Yeah, see her grow from the child into the character that we see in The Mandalorian, because she does spend a lot of time with Anakin. She becomes really close with Anakin, and it really hurt her physically and emotionally when Anakin turned.
And to catch that, neither one of us has seen the Rebels. Guys, if you're a fan, I'm so sorry. At least I've been the one to see Clone Wars. But I heard that Ahsoka has to battle Darth Vader at the end of Rebels. But really? I've got to see it. But and it speaks, because I think I've seen a picture or a little skit or something, and she's torn up. And I believe she says the words, "I'm not going to leave you again, Anakin."
Look, your old friend Casey going, dude,
hey,
David.
Thanks for the shout out.
She hadn't seen your face in a while. I guess she's like, damn, he's getting old. And
guys, speaking of the which, we'll try to shout you out. Amanda, I saw you popped in here earlier. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, folks. On the Facebook and the YouTube and everything, you can chat there, and we'll get it live in here. And if you say something and it's if you just say hi, we'll throw it up on the board. If it's cussing us out, then we probably will anyway. But the Ahsoka is really cool. But Obi-Wan, I got excited about, still excited about, can't wait. Ahsoka, excited about. But the biggest news and I hit you with it, you hadn't even seen it, and I sent it to you, and you go, oh, I'm definitely pre-ordering this. It's freaking finally getting a follow-up to
the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. We're getting the second one, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is following the same character, Cal Kestis, and his journey. But catch this, guys. We're throwing this in there. This is now the same time that Obi-Wan is airing right now. So what we're seeing in Obi-Wan is the same time that Cal Kestis is happening in this new game. The first game is really well. Hi, Jennifer. Nice to have Jennifer. You on. And it's amazing. It's a great story. Dude, it's just as great as the original Star Wars games used to be that you were saying that you had played. And guys, I've played it like 3 times. There's only a handful of games that I've ever even replayed. Right. And this new game is definitely one I'm going to be pre-ordering. And guys, the actor who plays Cal Kestis, I wish I knew his name off the top of my head. Guys,
he was in Shameless.
Shameless. He was the redheaded. He does an excellent job on it, and he can do a live action. We've talked about that.
And here that begs the question: will we see him in Obi-Wan? Will they bring that actor in? Because he's canon, that character is canon. We know that he is part of the Star Wars universe. We had Mark Hamill showing up in Mandalorian, and they kept that secret until it aired. I'm just really wondering if he is going to appear in Obi-Wan. And I could just, yes, it's only going to be for the true blue fans that are going to be going, oh my God, Cal. But you know what? Let's do this real quick. Let's take a look at that trailer for Jedi Survivor.
Tell me, Cal Kestis, why lead when they won't follow? Why fight when you can't win? What is your next move, Jedi?
Now, that main villain, I've got to say before I forget, I was looking into it because, guys, for the ones who have seen Obi-Wan, he looks to appear to be the same race as that Grand Inquisitor.
Right.
But from what I've pulled up, it's not. It is an unnamed Imperial Senator.
What for those that are on the podcast, what he is referring to is that there is this old ass looking man, long white hair. He looks he's in a tank of water, so he almost looks like he's Anakin in the rejuvenation chamber or whatever it's called, but he's not. It isn't the Grand Inquisitor for reasons that, or at least not the Grand Inquisitor we see in Obi-Wan, which you'll find out why later that it can't be in the game. Well, I guess he could if it was before. Anyway,
yeah.
But so there's some characters that we're not sure about. And of course, it's not showing any gameplay. This is just a teaser. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, you can, of course, find it on YouTube. It's just Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Or you can jump on our channel, watch this show, and you'll see the trailers there. But yes, and folks, of course, we are not affiliated with Lucasfilms or Disney, any of that stuff. We just wanted to show the trailer because we are really stoked about this game. I went to go play it again because David came down to visit a couple of, he's in Tennessee now and I'm still in Texas, but he came down to visit for a few weeks and he told me, he said, yeah, after we found this out, he said, yeah, I just finished replaying it right before I came down there. And the other day I was off of work and I was like, well, hell, I'm going to play it. And I can't find mine. Mine's on a disc. I thought I had a digital download or digital copy, but apparently that's one of the few that I haven't. So I got to go to my storage and find my damn games.
Speaking of this, guys, some people don't have the money, and I don't blame you. Some of you already have it. It's the Xbox Game Pass, and they already have all the Star Wars games that's on there. Hi, Brenda. Nice to see you. And so this game's included. It is in Xbox Game Pass, $15 a month for the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. There's also trial ones. Usually they do like a month for $1 or 3 months for $1. And if you check it out, you'll get a chance to be able to play this game. And so y'all can do that, especially people who have the Xbox Series S. You can hop on there and just play it real quick.
Right. And, if anybody out there from Microsoft is listening or Lucasfilms, you can send the bonus check to me and I'll share it with David there, for the free blurbs there. Or not free. Anyway, just joking. Now,
joking, not joking.
Yeah, joking. If y'all ever need a spot to advertise, let us know.
Actors that you want plugs, come on our show, man. We'd love to have y'all.
Hey, Ewan, Chris, Hayden, y'all can come on the show anytime. But you know, I hate this chair, man. I got to get a new one. So
I
we
know.
discussed. Yeah, I know.
Captain America.
Oh, dude, this one is dilapidated. I've got to get a new one. But I don't sit here that often. This is the only time I sit here is when I'm in the studio. So we talked about Obi-Wan. We talked a little bit about Ahsoka. We've talked about Jedi Survivor.
Darth Vader lore we talked about.
Yeah.
But
And then,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, but then, guys, we talked a little bit and we said we were going to come back to it. If you have watched Star Wars Clone Wars, if you haven't, go watch it. Matthew. You'll know what I'm talking about. The Bad Batch. This is a show. It already came out. I'm not going to give you a lot of spoilers, but it's following this stormtrooper group that had defects, but they excelled together at the like doing stormtrooper stuff. They called them out to go do this kind of stuff. Bad Batch takes place literally as the moment of Order 66 happens. Obviously, their defects and their chips, their implants and stuff are not working, and so they're not understanding why all these people have turned on Jedis. And it's following that story, and it's excellent. There's more to it, but I'll let you guys figure that out when y'all go to watch it. The reason why I give you that story is because guess what? The season 2 is confirmed and it is going to be coming out. I think the release date is September. Like I said, it's really important for you to watch Clone Wars. You really don't have to, but the beginning of the Bad Batch that tells you why you should be invested in these guys and the heart-to-heart happens in that. They have 2 or 3 episodes. So technically, if you didn't want to do, because Clone Wars is super long, a lot of series,
Right.
But you could technically just go in and grab those few. But they have those connections. They meet Commander Cody, but they're really mostly with Rex, which once again, you get a way bigger story with Rex in the Clone Wars. It's definitely worth checking out. But yeah, no, I mean, I know you've heard of the Bad Batch 2. You've watched one of the episodes. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, the Bad Batch, I definitely want to check out. Now I'm going to have to go and actually invest some time and watch the Clone Wars before somebody revokes my Star Wars geek card. But yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2. But I saw the Twitterverse blow up when this thing came out because, and here again, I'm going to reveal that my geek card is tentative. I don't know the character's name, but everyone geeked out because they're a specific Wookiee Jedi is alive. It shows him with a lightsaber in the trailer, and so the whole Twitter sphere was just really going nuts that this Wookiee, and he's
Gungi.
canon, Gungi, yeah, that's it, and that he survived and is going to be in the series, and so that's got to be something that's from the comics or from Clone Wars or something, because I'm not familiar with the character myself, but because admitted,
I've seen.
So you're familiar with the character.
Yeah.
So I need to go back and watch it, but I am looking forward to that. What I'm really liking right now is that we're getting some good, a good amount of Star Wars material. It doesn't feel like we're being oversaturated, and it also doesn't feel like that they're diluting the brand. It doesn't feel like, that they're just throwing a bunch of stuff out there haphazardly, and then it's just bringing it down. For me, it's adding to the brand name. They're actually adding quality to the whole universe. But it's funny to me that they can't get it right. The sequels with Rey and all of them, they're okay, but the storyline is kind of haphazard. And God Almighty, damn, we ended up with another Death Star. But they are doing so really well with these in-between stories. I mean, we know Rogue One was freaking phenomenal, man. And, that takes place in the 5 minutes before New Hope. But then we've got the Mandalorian, which takes place right after Return of the Jedi. And then we've got Boba Fett. Now, this is another one, folks. If you have not watched Boba Fett, you've got to, there's going to be spoilers here, but really and truly, if for him to have a series, there's a spoiler that he gets out of the Sarlacc pit, because how else would he have a series? It'd be really damn boring for him to be in that belly all the time.
And they don't just say he got out. They show you,
don't.
They tell you about his story. And the great thing is like, you're seeing his character development, and you're going to hear me say that a lot on this show, because it's really important to me. You got to be able to project this character for us to be able to understand what they've gone through, their decisions, because that's a talking point, and that's something that draws you into the show. And the thing is like, I'm not the biggest fan of Boba Fett. He's amazing. I like him, but the thing is like, there's not a lot to go on. Like, you have the movie, but I feel like I always felt like that was it. But then seeing Mandalorian and then what they've talked about and the character development that they brought to it and that story, I liked it. It was a great series, guys.
Well, and Boba Fett has such a following and all this lore about him. And it's kind of funny, he had 4 minutes of screen time in the original trilogy, and then he was dead. But he is a really cool character. He was my favorite action figure because when it came out. Because I'm not that old. I was a kid when it came out. But I love what they're doing with the character. We are getting a much more expansive look at him. We're getting to see how loyal he is, and he just after he gets out of the Sarlacc pit, he changes his tune. He doesn't want to be killing for fat rich people anymore. He says something funny about that.
Yeah, dude, man, we're on with Jabba's cousins or something that comes up.
Yeah,
and there is, and I'm gonna butcher his name, but Kassan or something, the mercenary Wookiee.
Yeah, Kassan.
And he goes, as a former mercenary, don't work for Scug Lords.
Yeah, that's it. But like I was saying a minute ago, we're getting all of this good quality. It doesn't feel like they're oversaturating the market. We know that we've got a good portion of next year covered with Star Wars stuff. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I meant to say, when you were talking about earlier on the oversaturation of the market, and you were talking about the these sequels and stuff that was just made with Rey and everybody. But the thing is like, why did they go and invest all that movie money and stuff into creating this new stuff when you have so much that has just not been followed? Boba Fett, you've got Obi-Wan, you've got Darth Vader. Rogue One, excellent. One of my favorite movies, because definitely. It's not just a movie thrown out there. Oh, and then the other thing about a lot of the Star Wars stuff, guys, and I always complained about the newer movies with Rey and everything, was where is the other species? The new ones, boom, everywhere. And that's what I need. You're not telling me that in galaxies far, far away, where in the original ones, everywhere you turned, there was aliens and different species, and then all of a sudden in these the Rey movies and stuff, there's just all humanoids. They're all human.
Right.
But no, dude, these new episodes and stuff, dude, there's a lot of them, and I really appreciate that.
And, and I can definitely see the reasoning for starting a new trilogy. The George Lucas's supposedly what we had heard back when all of Star Wars first started coming out, because it starts with episode 3, that there were supposed to be 3 trilogies. But then George Lucas at some point in history has said, no, he never the original intention was just a set of 3 movies. Which, why the hell did you start with episode 3 then? Or episode 4? But the prequels went, they did. I like the storyline. I'm not real thrilled with the whole infant Anakin stuff, but that's neither here nor there. But the newer stuff, they just didn't hold a cohesive idea. They didn't have an outline for, okay, here's the 3 movies. This is going to be what's, A, B, and C, what's for sure going to happen in 1, what's going to happen in 2, and then this is how we're going to wrap it up. I mean, good God, man. The freaking line in whatever episode it is, somehow Palpatine came back, that is as bad as Martha moment in Batman versus Superman. The whole Martha crap. That was some of the worst, laziest writing I have ever seen. Somehow Palpatine came back. What the hell? Come
What a kind of
on.
pitiful excuse. It's like, well, how are we going to end this? Was it Palpatine? Palpatine's dead, but what if he's not?
Right.
Who had that brilliant idea? Like,
and we need something big. We need something. A Death Star. You know, it's already the first two got blown up, but this time we'll get it right. Jesus Christ. It was
let me tell you something. You know how you mentioned Anakin and, you know, the younger, you know, that was being really weird and everything like that. And Qui-Gon had this really big feeling about him and stuff like that. And guys, I hope I'm not the only one. Anybody feel like they got cut short for Qui-Gon and didn't really get a fulfilling story, right? Well, guess what? Qui-Gon is mentioned a lot more in this Obi-Wan series. So once again, go check it out, guys. This brings into a lot of different stuff, and it's a hoot to see and be able to catch these references and stuff.
And you bring up a really good point. We have heard Qui-Gon mentioned. And you know, before at the end of episode 3, when Obi-Wan is, you know, Princess Leia is getting sent off, Luke is getting sent off. Obi-Wan says he's going to go to Tatooine. Yoda tells him that while he is in exile, he can conversate with his former master, and that Yoda would show him how to communicate with him. Well, in Obi-Wan, this is supposed to be 9-10 years later, and this is a problem that I had. Because it's supposed to be 9 or 10 years later, and Obi-Wan is not figured out how to talk to Qui-Gon yet. He is calling out for him, Master, if you know you're ever there, I need you now. This is another thing I wanted to bring up. Is this foreshadowing an appearance by Qui-Gon? Are we going to see the Force Ghost?
But what you're saying there with the Force Ghost, a lot of that stuff makes sense. And guys, by the way, this is more of the heavier spoiler stuff. But with what you're saying, that's a great point. We get into the Star Wars where you see the ghost of Ben Obi-Wan, and you get to see the ghost of Yoda and all that kind of stuff. And so it's very possible that we see it. But you asked why he wasn't able to do it 10 years later. But you also have to think about, and it brings this point into the movie, he is hiding. And he tells other Jedi to hide. He has not used the Force. He has not used his lightsaber. He has not done any of that stuff. In fact,
that's a good point.
Tries in that series, I believe, or at least it leads us to believe that like the Force didn't really work for him immediately after so long. And then later in the series, you know, like he kind of works finally into it, but he's still not using it. So it's probably because it's been so long. Like now he's hitting this rough spot. He's having to try to do it, but all of a sudden he's not having that connection to the Force like he used to.
Right, and that brings up another point, because he, like you said, he hasn't used the Force in so long. He had buried his lightsabers. He couldn't even draw them out of the sand. He had to dig them out. And then there was some time that he wasn't able to use the Jedi mind trick on stormtroopers, you know, when it would have been a perfect opportunity. But so is the Force. Is it kind of like a muscle? You know, if you don't use it, and that's why they need to get them as kids, because if they don't use it, don't learn how to strengthen it, then it just kind of goes away.
Well, guys, this isn't the first time we've seen this. Matthew, do you remember the first time, and I'll give you a hint, it was in one of the movies, that one of the Jedi has lost their connection to the Force?
Okay,
remember it was Luke when Rey goes to train under Luke, and he says, I'm not the master, and he lost his connection, but then finally, like, he gets it back. And so we're kind of seeing this happen with Obi-Wan, but obviously he's the real OG and, you know, learns much quicker than Luke ended up in the movie. But guys, it's a great thing. And, you know, it also helps with the story. It's not just an easy way out where like, oh, we'll just use the Force, use his lightsaber, whatever. Like, he has to be smart. And we all know Obi-Wan is smart.
Right. And you just made me think of something else, though. You know, you just talked about Luke being on that island and he had lost his connection to the Force. And then Rey comes around and he gets his connection back. But bro got his connection back to the Force in a major way. He was able to project his Force ghost across the galaxy to another planet, and then do the little sleeve that really messed with Kylo Ren, and then he died. It was so strong, it killed him. But that again, that's talking about the sequels, and to me, they're kind of in their own class. I really love, of course, the original trilogy. The prequels have grown on me. I fully love the Sith, Revenge of the Sith. That's one of my favorite ones, especially the last 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes with the whole fight with Obi-Wan.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
But that scene though, man, where Anakin is burning up and he just looks at him and he says, "I hate you." That is just so rage filled. To me, I loved that scene. I thought Hayden Christensen did really good.
Guys, I'll tell you what. So in Obi-Wan, yeah, I know we're going back and forth, but Obi-Wan's a really big deal. But in Obi-Wan, when we get to see Darth Vader, which Matthew has mentioned, you get to see once again that character development, those years of him being this authoritative dictator. He's this time he's calm and collected when he's facing Obi-Wan. It's kind of like he's finally taking Obi-Wan's advice when he's like, "Let me think about this battle. Don't run into it." And he doesn't. He's not careless or anything. And then dude, the shivers down my spine when he goes, "I am what you made me."
Right.
Like,
okay. I just thought of something else you and I discussed the other day, and then we hadn't even brought this up. How good, I just got chills even thinking about it. How good is that little girl channeling Princess Leia?
Dude, yeah, we talked about that. I can't believe we didn't bring that up in this. So, guys, he mentioned you get to see a little Luke. We also get to see the little Leia. He also mentioned that about the same time as Han Solo and being able to see this really weird, creepy pedophile kind of thing going on. But this little girl, I'm telling you, just channels Princess Leia's attitude perfectly. Yep, the mannerisms, her voice, the arguing, how smart she is.
Yes.
Dude. Being able to see this kind of stuff, I'm telling you, I'm really excited. And that kid's going to be going places as an actress.
And I could foresee, them doing at least another little spinoff with the adventures of Leia. That was the other thing that I really loved. I was sitting there the whole time when they were showing her and her mom. I was going, okay, are they going to bring the original Bail Organa in here? Is that what we're about to see? And then sure as shit, here comes Jimmy Smits. And I was like, hell yeah, man. They fucking went out on this.
Man, how much did it break your heart when Obi-Wan was like, Leia's not my problem?
Right. Yeah. But I understood, but you're right. It was like, what the fuck happened to you, Obi-Wan? Right.
No. And there's a worse. There's a more devastating scene because, guys, really big spoiler, but I gotta bring it up now that we're talking about it. There's a Jedi in there that gets caught by these Inquisitors. He's on the run.
Oh, man.
He finds Obi-Wan, and he's like, "You're the Obi-Wan." He's like, "I need your help, man," and everything. And Obi-Wan's like, "No. You got the wrong person. That's not me. You got the wrong person." And then he was like, hide.
Yeah.
And like, dude, he doesn't help him. And then the camera like pans out and the Jedi's just hanging there for the whole public to see, dead.
They caught him. The Inquisitors, the thing is the Inquisitors show up to Tatooine, and because they had gotten word that there was a Jedi hiding out there, and it leads you to believe at first that it's Obi-Wan. Because you see what Obi-Wan, he's living this mundane life and feeding his alien camel just one little small meal a day. So he's living this really hobo life, like what you would expect when you see Ben, in A New Hope. The frazzled, he looks like he's just an old hermit. That's another thing real quick, dude. It's only supposed to be like 9 years between right now Obi-Wan Kenobi and A New Hope. how rough of a life did Obi-Wan have to go from looking like Ian McGregor to oh my God.
Old man Herbert Pervert.
Yeah, I can't think of the actor's name. Alec Guinness, Sir Alec Guinness.
Oh yeah.
But I saw somebody say online that I guess it's canon or was in a comic book or a book, but it said that they told Yoda told Ben that he needed to protect himself there, or the elements would age him before his time or something like that. So they did kind of cover it. But I don't know for sure. I haven't read that myself. That's just something I got from
that we discussed that we didn't say on this podcast was in Obi-Wan, the third sister goes to find Obi-Wan and, doing that sinister talking while she's looking for him, classic Star Wars, and tells them, oh, you didn't know.
Yes.
Anakin is still alive. And he's Darth Vader. Like he tells Obi-Wan while he's hiding, and he's really surprised and stuff. And guys, like I'm assuming that I guess this is the moment that he finally figures out that Anakin alive and is Darth Vader. But as me and Matthew talked about, is I feel like something. And please drop a comment. Tell us if you know show, series, something. But I feel like he already knew, but I can't remember what it was from. So guys, if you know, tell us.
That's why they hid Luke and Leia, as they knew he was alive. But my thing is that the universe, it wasn't universally known that Anakin became Darth Vader. So why the hell does Reva, third sister, know that Anakin is Darth Vader?
And guys, where he's talking about right there is where the third sister during Obi-Wan is always trying to hunt down Obi-Wan, and later we figure out that she goes and talks to Darth Vader and is like, she's trying to prove herself and becoming the Grand Inquisitor and stuff, the right-hand man of Darth Vader, and is talking to him. And she knows that Anakin is Darth Vader. So, that begs the question, like Matthew said, like, what happened?
Because
did it come out? Does just her know? Does all the Inquisitors know?
And when we were talking, I was like, and how could he not know, for this last 10 years that Vader was alive? Because Vader would be going around to these planets and kicking ass and taking names and killing people. But you brought up you brought up, he's living in a cave. He's only going to work and looking over Luke. And so it does make sense that he doesn't know what's going on until the Inquisitors show up. And I got tickled. I know I told you that one of the other Inquisitors, you can tell that he's Asian, but he started talking, and I turned to Brenda and I said, "That's freaking Han." And she goes, "Who?" I said, "Han from Fast and Furious." She goes, "Is it?" And I said, because he's got makeup on, he's supposed to look like an alien. But I looked it up and sure shit it. I can't think of his name, or I don't have it. But yeah, it's Han from Fast and Furious. He's one of the Inquisitors. Yeah.
Guys, I got to give a shout out. We were talking about a bunch of this different stuff, and Obi-Wan looking over Luke. True Star Wars fans, you're going to know his uncle was looking over Luke and everything. And you have that introduction where the uncle is talking to Obi-Wan.
And it's the same actor.
Come in, and man, I'll tell you what, shout out to that man. He didn't give Obi-Wan up. Dude, and he talks to Obi-Wan, and he's like, get out of our lives and everything. And then he doesn't give, dude.
They brought in the same actor.
Up was about to be killed.
Yeah, they brought in the same actor for Owen. And what he's talking about is that the Inquisitors are in the middle of town. They know that there's a Jedi. And they're threatening people. And they say, okay, well, we're going to blast this dude if y'all don't tell us where this Jedi is. And then they go to Owen and they hold a blaster up to him, and they are threatening Owen's life. And Owen even turns and looks over to see Obi-Wan and still doesn't give him up. Even though he hates him, he doesn't want him in Luke's life. He makes the comment that, you're not going to train him, or you're going to train him like you did his father. And so for him, Owen, we don't know anything about Owen other than he's Luke's stepbrother, or Anakin's stepbrother. And, but he showed some big cojones there, man. He was willing to take a blaster to the freaking, or a lightsaber. That's what it was. What she was holding the lightsaber up.
Yeah. But I'll tell y'all what, guys, I really appreciate all y'all who have stuck around and stuff. Stay tuned for more episodes. Like Matthew said, Sundays at 9, we're going to be going live if you want to catch us. Then a day or two after, we're going to be publishing this on all major podcasting platforms. So you can always check us out there. Matthew, and anything else before we end?
Yeah, well, of course, make sure you check out geekinsider.com, the whole the wizard behind the curtain for all of this, and I'm the managing editor over there, folks, and I love it. I've been there for years. But also make sure that you check out the Geek Insider channel on YouTube, folks. There are several shows. There's our old Geek Speak show, mine and Meredith's, where we've got interviews with folks. We even have now I can't think of her name, but Dominic's sister from the Fast and the Furious. We interviewed her for another movie she was in. And then there's my show, my singular show, Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky. Haven't done an episode in a long time. I cover the Mandela effect and ghost and time travel and stuff. But along with the launch of this, I do have a new show coming, or a new installment, new episode. Not a new show. It's going to be another episode of Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky. It's just, that show takes a lot of prep time, and especially like the one for Ed McMahon, Publishers Clearinghouse. That takes a good, few days to put together, and we all have day jobs, and so it's hard to spend that much time. So, but I do have one, and David knows this. He was with me when this happened. I'm almost positive, matter of fact, I know I am, that we came across a brand new Mandela effect that has not been discussed. And that's what I'm going to reveal on the next episode of Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky. I've just got to put some stuff together on it. It was one of those things, man, that at first I was like, I just blew off like almost all Mandela effects. I was just like, I guess I heard it wrong or whatever. And then I looked into it and I was like, oh, wait. A whole lot of other people think the same thing.
There's a lot of Mandela effect out, guys. Y'all need to go check it out. Once again, his name's Matthew Harris, and he's got a lot of really great stuff. You need to check it out.
All right, folks, and we will be back next Sunday. David, on our outline, what is next week's show? Did we ever decide? I know we had the first three.
The next week,
and this is a tentative schedule, folks, because I plan on us being kind of like South Park, that we will have a plan for next week or the next couple of weeks. But then if something topical happens, we're going to switch gears. And so don't hold us to it if we say that we're going to do a show next week on Batman and then all of a sudden it's on Superman because something happened in the Superman sphere.
So the next one that we're probably going to be doing is going to be DC. This is going to be in general the new movies that's been coming out, where we think the direction is going to go, anything and everything.
We can give a plug for our favorite game that we've been playing.
Speaking of which, Zach Levy, the guy who plays Shazam, I know you're where we used to live, where Matthew lives right now.
Yep.
Dude, man, come join us on the show. We'd love to have you.
When this goes out on Twitter, I'm going to have to tag him. But, folks, thanks so much for tuning in for this inaugural show of Into the Geekverse. Again, I want to give a very special thanks to Meredith Loughran. She put a lot of work into Geek Insider and into this channel, the Geek Insider YouTube channel. And a lot of work just in general. She made a lot of friends out there. A lot of you that I'm friends with, we wouldn't have met without Meredith. I love her dearly. I miss her, and none of this would be impossible without her. And so, once again, this show is dedicated to Meredith. Every show is going to be, we're going to have a little closing slide that is going to say, "In loving memory of Meredith." And but anyway, this was the first show. As you can see from the beginning, we just had one opening title credit. And things will evolve as we go along here. Basically, what this is, folks, is mine and David's weekly phone call. This is what we do. We sit and bullshit about this kind of stuff. I mean, we talk text and stuff throughout the week. We're best friends. But we would have these conversations once a week or every 2 weeks. And when he was visiting, we were sitting there talking about Spider-Man or something and just going back and forth, ignoring my wife and another friend of his that came over. And they looked at us and they're like, y'all should do a podcast on this. And I looked at David and I was like, damn, that's not a bad idea at all. And so here we are. Into the Geekverse. So join us next week. Make sure that's going to be live, 9:00 Central, and you can catch us on Facebook, YouTube. If not, if you can't catch it, you can replay it on Facebook, but you can also play it while you're at work or on your jog, in your car, on your favorite podcast. Just search for Geek Insider. And again, there's a library there with a whole bunch of different shows that you may want to check out. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night. Unfortunately, tomorrow is Monday, so try to have a good week and stay safe out there. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.